For decades, modern dating advice has taught you to look for tricks, tactics, manufactured attraction. But Carl Rogers proved something more fundamental. Authentic connection cannot be faked at the physiological level. When a woman is genuinely drawn to you, her entire being reorganizes itself in your presence. She exhibits what Rogers termed unconditional positive regard through her behavior, a state where she values your existence without pretense or performance. Rogers revolutionized psychology with a radical insight. He discovered that human beings communicate their deepest truths through what he called congruence, the alignment between internal experience and external expression. When someone is genuinely interested, their entire organism responds. Rogers identified this as organismic experiencing, the body's wisdom that operates beneath conscious awareness. Most men completely miss the subtle patterns that expose a woman's genuine intentions, not because these patterns are invisible, but because you've never been taught the language of authentic human connection. When people feel psychologically safe with another person, they drop their conditions of worth, those protective masks we wear to earn approval. This dropping of defenses creates observable behavioral patterns that are consistent, measurable, and impossible to sustain through conscious effort alone. This isn't manipulation, this is literacy. Understanding the 7 patterns Rogers identified gives you the ability to distinguish genuine female interest from social politeness, authentic connection from strategic performance. When you learn this language, everything changes. You stop wasting time on ambiguity. You stop investing emotional energy in situations that were never reciprocal. You begin moving through the world with what Rogers called psychological contact, the ability to perceive and respond to genuine female connection when it emerges. Pattern 1. The Phenomenological Shift. Rogers introduced the concept of the phenomenological field, the totality of a person's subjective experience in any given moment. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, her entire phenomenological field reorganizes around your presence. Everything else becomes background. You become a figure. Watch how this manifests. When you enter a room, does her attention immediately shift toward you? Not just a glance, a complete reorientation. Her body turns. Her conversation pauses mid-sentence. There's a moment of recalibration where she integrates your presence into her awareness. This isn't a conscious calculation. It's what Rogers called the actualizing tendency, the organism's natural movement toward what nourishes it. Neuroscience supports this completely. When someone is genuinely attracted, the brain's reticular activating system heightens sensitivity to that person's presence. She notices you before consciously deciding to notice. Her attention finds you automatically, repeatedly, as if magnetized. You'll see this in group settings especially. While talking to others, her eyes drift toward you. She tracks your movement through space. She's aware of your position even when seemingly focused elsewhere. This phenomenological shift is involuntary. She cannot suppress it through willpower alone. If you're observant, you'll notice the pattern. Her awareness reorganizes itself around you, with a consistency that reveals genuine interest rather than social courtesy. Pattern 2. Empathic Resonance. Rogers identified empathy as the cornerstone of genuine human connection, the ability to enter another person's frame of reference so completely that you experience their world from the inside. When a woman is drawn to you, she demonstrates what Rogers called empathic understanding, an intense curiosity about your internal experience. This manifests as deep listening, not waiting for her turn to talk, not formulating responses while you speak, genuine absorption in your words. You'll notice her body becomes still when you're sharing something meaningful. Her facial expressions mirror your emotional tone. She asks questions that reveal she's tracking not just the content of your words, but the feeling underneath them. Rogers emphasized that empathic resonance cannot be performed convincingly over time. It requires genuine interest, genuine investment in understanding another person's subjective reality. When she consistently demonstrates this quality, when she remembers not just what you said, but how you seemed to feel when you said it, when she references your internal states with accuracy, she's revealing profound interest. Watch for this specifically. Does she ask follow-up questions that demonstrate she's been thinking about what you've shared? Does she connect details you mentioned weeks apart? Does she seem genuinely curious about your perspective, your experience, your unique way of seeing the world? This empathic attunement is one of the clearest indicators that you've moved from background awareness to foreground significance in her psychological world. Pattern 3. Self-disclosure reciprocity. Rogers discovered that genuine connection creates a reciprocal vulnerability cascade. When people feel psychologically safe, they progressively reveal more authentic layers of themselves. This isn't a random confession. It's strategic trust building that follows a predictable pattern. When a woman is interested, she'll match and escalate the depth of your self-disclosure. If you share something personal, she'll respond with something equally personal. If you reveal a vulnerability, she'll offer one of her own. This creates what Rogers called mutual transparency, a state where both people are gradually removing their social facades. But here's what's crucial. The timing and context matter intensely. If she's sharing deeply personal information early in your acquaintance, without you necessarily earning it through relationship history, she's communicating something specific. She's saying, I want you to know me. I want intimacy with you. I'm willing to accelerate this connection. Rogers emphasized that this vulnerability must feel natural, not forced. When genuine, it emerges organically in conversation. She'll share a childhood memory unprompted. She'll reveal an insecurity without preface. She'll tell you about a dream, a fear, a hope that she doesn't typically discuss with others. And critically, after sharing, she'll watch your response. She's unconsciously assessing, is he safe with my truth? Can I trust him with deeper layers? When you respond with acceptance rather than judgment, when you honor her disclosure without weaponizing it or dismissing it, she recognizes you as psychologically safe. And safety, Rogers proved, is the foundation upon which genuine connection builds. Pattern 4. Unconditional positive regard through action. Rogers coined the term unconditional positive regard to describe a state where one person values another's existence without conditions or judgment. When a woman is genuinely interested, she demonstrates this through consistent positive attention. This isn't fake niceness. It's genuine appreciation that manifests through action. She remembers your preferences without being reminded. She brings up topics she knows interest you. She creates situations where you'll be comfortable and valued. She defends you in your absence. She speaks about you to others with warmth and respect. Watch for acts of consideration that require effort. Does she go slightly out of her way to include you? Does she remember your schedule and work around it? Does she bring you something small but meaningful, demonstrating she was thinking about you when you weren't present? These behaviors reveal that you occupy psychological real estate in her mind, that she's investing mental energy in your well-being. Rogers emphasized that unconditional positive regard cannot be sustained through pretense. It requires genuine valuing of another person. When her actions consistently demonstrate consideration, when she treats your preferences and comfort as important, Without you demanding recognition, she's revealing profound interest that transcends superficial attraction. Pattern 5. Congruence and Authenticity. Rogers' concept of congruence describes alignment between internal experience and external expression. When someone is congruent, their words, tone, and body language all communicate the same message. When a woman is genuinely interested, she becomes more congruent in your presence, not less. This seems counterintuitive. You'd expect nervousness to create incongruence. But Rogers discovered something fascinating. In the presence of someone we genuinely trust and desire, we actually become more authentic, more ourselves. The performance drops. Watch for this pattern. Does she seem more relaxed with you over time, rather than more guarded? Does her body language align with her words? When she says she's happy to see you, does her entire being communicate happiness? When she's engaged in conversation, does her attention appear genuinely focused rather than politely maintained? Incongruence looks like a disconnect. Her words say one thing while her body communicates another. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Her laughter sounds performed. Her interest feels obligatory rather than genuine. But congruence, Rogers taught, creates a felt sense of authenticity. When you're with her, something feels real, grounded, honest. That's congruence, and it's one of the most reliable indicators of genuine connection. Additionally, notice if she drops social performance around you. Does she let you see her without makeup? Does she share unflattering stories about herself? Does she stop trying to impress you and simply exist in your presence? This progressive authenticity is profound evidence that she trusts you with her genuine self. Pattern 6. The Actualizing Tendency in Relationship. Rogers believed in the actualizing tendency, the fundamental human drive toward growth, fulfillment, and becoming one's fullest self. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, you become associated with this actualizing tendency. Your presence makes her feel more alive, more capable, more herself. This manifests in observable ways. Does she seem energized after spending time with you? Does she share her aspirations and dreams with you? Does she seek your perspective when making important decisions? Does she seem to grow, to expand, to become more confident through your connection? Rogers proved that we gravitate toward relationships that facilitate our growth. When someone consistently chooses to spend time with you, when they bring their important decisions and vulnerable moments to you, when they seem to flourish in your presence, they're revealing that you activate their actualizing tendency. Pay attention to her self-talk around you. Does she express self-compassion? Does she share ambitious goals? Does she seem more hopeful, more optimistic, more willing to take healthy risks? If your presence correlates with her experiencing herself more positively, that's powerful evidence of genuine connection. The inverse matters too. If she seems diminished around you, more anxious, more self-critical, more withdrawn, that's evidence of incompatibility regardless of what she says verbally. Rogers taught that genuine connection should make both people feel more fully themselves, not less. Pattern 7. Psychological Presence and Full Attention. Rogers' final and perhaps most profound insight was about presence itself. He called it being fully present, a state where someone gives you their complete, undivided attention. In our age of constant distraction, this has become the rarest and most valuable gift one person can offer another. When a woman is genuinely interested, she demonstrates presence through full attention. Her phone becomes invisible when you're together. She maintains eye contact during conversation. She doesn't scan the room while you're speaking. She creates space in her schedule, specifically for uninterrupted time with you. This presence has a quality you can feel. There's a thickness to the air between you, an intensity of focus that makes everything else fade. Rogers described this as psychological contact, a state where two nervous systems synchronize, where genuine meeting occurs beyond words. Watch for this in subtle ways. When you're talking, does the rest of the world seem to disappear for her? Does she ignore interruptions to maintain connection with you? Does she create privacy, even in public spaces, through the quality of her attention? Does time seem to pass differently when you're together, either too fast or suspended entirely? This presence cannot be faked consistently. It requires genuine interest, genuine investment in the moment you're sharing. When she repeatedly demonstrates this quality of attention, when being with you seems more compelling than any alternative, when she chooses your company over comfort, convenience, or other opportunities, that's the deepest evidence Rogers identified for genuine connection. Integration, the Rogerian pattern of genuine interest. These 7 patterns don't exist in isolation. They form a coherent whole, a symphony of behavioral signals that together create unmistakable clarity. Any single pattern might have alternative explanations. But when all 7 appear consistently, when her attention reorganizes around you, and she demonstrates empathic understanding, and she shares progressively deeper vulnerability, and she shows consistent positive regard, and she becomes more authentic in your presence, and she associates you with her growth, and she gives you her full presence. That's not ambiguity. That's a woman revealing, through every channel available to her, that you matter profoundly in her psychological world. Rogers spent his career proving that human beings are fundamentally trustworthy in their authentic communication. When we feel safe, we tell the truth. The question isn't whether women communicate their genuine interest. They always do. The question is whether you've developed the sophistication to perceive what's being communicated. This changes everything. When you understand these patterns, you stop chasing ghosts. You stop investing in situations that were never reciprocal. You begin to recognize genuine connection when it emerges and distinguish it clearly from social politeness, strategic performance, or simple kindness. And here's the profound part. When you develop this literacy, when you become the kind of man who can accurately perceive and respond to genuine human connection, women sense it. They recognize that you won't be confused by performance or manipulated by inconsistency. You can see them. You can perceive their truth. And that recognition triggers something primal, because what every human being craves underneath everything else is to be truly seen and genuinely valued by someone with the strength to perceive them and the integrity to honor what they perceive. Learn to recognize these 7 patterns, not to manipulate, but to perceive, not to control, but to honor. Become the man who can read the language of authentic human connection, and watch as the women in your world respond to that capability with a recognition that transcends words. Like, subscribe, and share.